It was an astonishing feat, celebrated both in the streets of Gaza and in the streets of Tel Aviv and beyond.
Blessed be the peacemakers.
God bless you, Mr. President. God bless America.
Thank you very much. You just take care of yourselves. The hostages will come back. They're all coming back on Monday.
Just consider for a minute what it takes to end a war and to have both sides hail you as a hero. Consider the resistance Trump had to overcome on both sides. From Israel's side, you had Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who has resisted calls to end the war since it began, at times even calls from the majority of Israelis. He was put in the unenviable position of navigating the dual imperatives of the war, bringing back the hostages on the one hand and putting an end to Hamas on the other. And these were always in conflict with each other, a horrific Sophie's choice. Netanyahu seemed to have chosen finishing Hamas over rescuing hostages. It took President Trump, who together with First Lady Melania was deeply moved by the plight of the hostage families, to tell Netanyahu in no uncertain terms that the time had come to choose the hostages and to end the war. And this truly was no easy feat. Netanyahu has for decades outmaneuvered American presidents, resisting their pressure and enraging them in the process. But Trump had two advantages. His own popularity in Israel no doubt made Netanyahu hesitant to cross him. And Trump also knew that the Israeli people were ready for the war to be over. 2/3 of Israelis, the highest number since the war began, want it to end. Moreover, Trump has been bothered by Israel's loss of support, both stateside and worldwide. Trump saw the deal as a way of bringing Israel back into the fold amidst cratering support.
Brought the whole world together. It's amazing. I've never seen anything. It's so good for Israel. I spoke to Bibi Netanyahu just a little while ago. He called. He said, I can't believe it. He said, everybody's liking me now. Meaning him. He said, I said, more importantly, they're loving Israel again. And they really are. I said, Israel cannot fight the world, baby. They can't fight the world.
None of this is to say that Trump doesn't understand the threat of Hamas or was sanguine about a deal that didn't neuter the terrorist organization. But while conventional wisdom cast Hamas as a military problem, Trump began to see it as a diplomatic one. If he could get Qatar and Egypt and Saudi Arabia and Turkey to take responsibility for Gaza and for getting rid of the threat posed by the terrorist group, then the second imperative of the war, ending Hamas, could be similarly accomplished just by different means. By reframing Hamas not as a military problem of Israel's, but as a diplomatic problem of the Arabs, Trump found a way to align what were the competing imperatives of the war. And when Bibi balked at the terms of the deal, Trump was adamant, take the win. So how did Trump get the Arabs on board? Well, there are 3 rules to Trump's deal making. Ignore the experts, align the interests of the two sides, and play the long game, pivoting when necessary and taking that win whenever you can. In this case, he ignored the conventional wisdom that the conflict is about competing value systems and that what the Muslim countries want more than anything else is an end to Israel. Instead, Trump focused on the fact that the Muslim states in play each wanted something from him. Egypt wanted American military aid and for the Gazans to stay put in Gaza and not flood Sinai. Qatar wanted an apology from Netanyahu for an Israeli airstrike, and Turkey wanted sanctions relief. Most importantly, Trump had convinced the Gulf Arab states in an early trip to the region that he respected them and had their best interests at heart, despite his avowed and unapologetically pro-Israel stance. While bragging about being the most pro-Israel president in American history, Trump courted trillions of dollars in investments to intertwine our economies with those of the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar, and used tariffs to incentivize those investments going to our industrial base. In other words, Trump's economic agenda and his foreign policy agenda are intertwined, something the president himself acknowledged.
The tariffs have brought peace to the world. I'm telling you, they've brought peace to the world. And not only here, but with so many other deals. You know, I've made 7 peace deals, at least 5 of the 7 that we've done so far. It was through trade. That we're not going to deal with people that fight. We're not going to deal, and we're going to put tariffs on you. It gives you a tremendous road to peace and the saving of millions of lives.
Put out this post talking about the peace deal and the prospects of it. And Don Jr. responded to it. I'll finish it for you. Thank you, Donald Trump. Honestly, it's not unfair to say if President Obama's going to write a whole post about a peace deal, maybe he should acknowledge the president that brokered it.
Point, standing defiant even when people doubted the prime minister could do it, and the enormous pressure he faced at home and internationally. Prime Minister Netanyahu is on the brink of fulfilling a moral, human, and Jewish obligation of bringing the innocent hostages back home. The hostages who were brutally taken by uncivilized people in Gaza, led by terror organizations that have nothing but hatred towards Jews, Israelis, the Jewish state, and Western civilization. Now, while the IDF has redeployed to the new yellow line in Gaza in full force during this ceasefire and the 72-hour time window that we are currently in for Hamas to release all of our hostages, we pay tribute to the soldiers currently serving on the ground, and we will always remember the brave and heroic soldiers who dropped everything in their lives to fight for the state of Israel and our hostages, leading us to the point where we are now. We remember the 915 IDF soldiers who gave their lives for us to get to this point. May their memories forever be a blessing. Now, President Trump's global leadership and intense pressure he applied to get Hamas to agree to this plan, with the first phase approved, the prime minister said it put the sword on its neck, as it was the first time the terror group agreed to release all 48 of our hostages at one time. I remind you of the international leaders that told Israel not to go into Gaza City. And with the help from our great friends Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, their dedication and personal missions to bring home our people speaks volumes to the incredible team President Trump has built. Here's what I can tell you about the release of our hostages, and let's be very clear about something. Israel has been ready since Saturday night to receive our hostages. A report that came out from the Wall Street Journal suggests that Hamas is willing to release the hostages as soon as today. This is not a gesture of kindness from Hamas. Let's remember, they took our people as hostages, starved and tortured them in captivity, and even murdered some in captivity as well. Hamas could have released our hostages 2 years ago. So the prime minister's response, Israel is prepared and is ready to immediately receive all of our hostages. The release of our hostages will begin early Monday morning. We are expecting all 20 of our living hostages to be released together at one time to the Red Cross and transported among 6 to 8 vehicles without any sick displays by Hamas, the terror organization. The hostages will then be driven to forces inside of Israeli-controlled parts of Gaza and then transferred to the Re'im base in southern Israel, where they will then reunite with their families. Israel is ready. If a living hostage requires any urgent medical attention, they will be brought to a medical facility.
This great and historic achievement we celebrate today, including the soon-to-be release of these hostages. Some have been murdered, tortured, starved, sexually abused by these subhuman monsters, throwbacks to the 7th century, these barbarians, these primitives, in the war between civilization in the 7th century. The fact is, their release, when it happens, should be widely celebrated. Period.
Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and watch all our content, including full episodes of the YoJoe Show podcast.